Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about The Sex Lives of College Girls Season 2. So just to let you know, the last two episodes have dropped on HBO Max today, and today it got renewed for a third season. I am very pleased because I actually enjoyed the second season. I enjoyed it a whole lot more better than that of season one. Now, this show is still not perfect, but it is much improved from that of the first season. A lot of the problems I had with like the first season was like, how the girls are always rewarded for all the bad stuff they do. It's like either they do something bad or there'll be like a woe is me dramatic thing that they have to like overcome, and it gets resolved very quickly at the end of the episode, and then they are rewarded, and it made no sense. It was like there was no struggles, and a lot of them were being rewarded for bad behavior and stuff. And I did not understand it. Another problem I had with season one was the dynamic between men versus women, and like how all the men were like either like creeps or like weak, and all the females were all like very strong and empowered, and that just didn't seem very realistic. There is a slight bit, just a slight bit of that in this season, but not as much as before, and it is balanced out a whole lot better and stuff. The writing could be stronger, the acting could be stronger, and the comedy could be stronger. However, like I said before, I am very, very pleased with this season and stuff. A lot of the problems I had last season, and apparently other people must have had problems last season too, because a lot of that stuff got addressed this season, and also like was either toned down or resolved or just made better with a better balance to fit with that of a show and stuff. And I couldn't have been the only person who had a problem with season one, because when you look at this season compared to last season, it is dramatically different. Now, one sad thing is that it's not as overly dramatic as it was in last season, and it's not as edgy as it was in last season. Why did they tone down the edge? Why did they tone down the drama? I honestly have no idea. I was actually surprised that the show got greenlit for a third season only because of what David Zaslav has been doing lately, canceling a bunch of shows on HBO Max, pulling them from the streaming site, and canceling a lot of stuff that is diverse, just so he doesn't have to pay residuals to that of the actors. This is causing a big problem because HBO Max Discovery might not be no more. So just because it got greenlit for a third season, it doesn't mean it's actually going to get that third season. Why? It's because there was another show. I forgot the name of it. I don't watch that show on HBO Max. It got renewed for a second season. They had finished filming. They was right nearly like maybe like 10% done to where the season could be wrapped up and they could show it. And then at the last hour, HBO Max Discovery canceled it. This is once again unheard of, but if you know who David Zaslav is, you know he does crap like that, just like with the Batgirl movie. It was near completion, and then he just straight up deleted the entire thing, just so he can get a tax write-off and everything, because HBO Max and Warner Brothers are bleeding money very, very, very badly because of what's been going on in the DC, like, comic book movies and stuff. And so, like, I am so glad like I'm finally enjoying the show, because like last season I did not like the first 5 episodes, but I really enjoyed the last 5 of the first season. But it was never like, it was a struggle only because of all the crap that they was doing and all the stuff that they was pulling. It really seemed like they had a problem with like men, and they wanted to show every toxic vibe of men. But when the women do the exact same thing in season 1, they are rewarded, and that pissed me off. This season there is more of a balance. There's more of a balance of like, good versus bad in both genders and stuff like that. A lot of the diverse characters that was in season 1, some of them have a bit more to do. Actually, one of them has a bit more to do. Another one is just relegated to just being a plot device just so they could date and everything. And like, I remember they had like this LGBT women's group type thing, and it was like the most extreme versions that there could be in season one that made them unbearable. You want to hear their story, but it was just unbearable because of how extreme they were and how much they hated men. But then they were brought back in this season for the last two episodes, but they weren't as bad as they were in season one. And in fact, they were so cool. I want to see more of them and know more about them. When it comes to the recurring characters, basically still just like season one, they are just simply recurring and everything. Except for Lila, she has a whole lot more to do this season, and we get to know more about her personality. Sometimes it could be a bit much. I could easily see her being the Stifler of like the show from like American Pie. I really do want this show to succeed and have multiple seasons because this could be like a female version of like American Pie and everything. It's just the writing and like the jokes and like some of the acting needs to be a bit stronger and stuff. Because then it would have that really like pow wow kind of moment. You know what I'm saying? And so, but there is still drama in this season. It's just not as dramatic as last season where it hits you over the head. I kind of do miss that. I miss the edginess of it. But, they really did play it safe. Maybe because of all the crap that's going on with like HBO Max and stuff like that. They just wanted to play it safe with the new management and stuff like that. So who knows what the third season, if it's going to be edgy or not. But like, there are a few storylines that I do know of that are going to take place in season 3 because of how they ended in season 2. Basically, the girls, they kind of have a bit of a breakup falling out towards the end. But some of them don't really know that. I hope in the next season they address this stuff and it be very, very, very dramatic. To give you some good juicy stuff for like season 3. What I was gonna say? I forgot. Crap. Because I don't want to go into the character profiles just yet. Something else in this season. It does still remind you of college life, just not as much as season 1. Like some of the things I saw in season 2, I'm like, oh, I remember things like that happening in college, but I had a whole lot more experiences in that of season 1. Guess I might as well get into the character profiles. Hey, why not? You know what I'm saying? As always, this is co-created by Mindy Kaling and some dude, I forgot. I don't have my notes with me right now. They created the first season. They created this. And, she has yet to make a cameo in this series. I guess she just wants them to, do their own thing and not take away from them because she's so famous and stuff like that, and that's cool. I respect that, but it would be nice to see like at least a cameo from her or something. Oh, now I remember. So this season takes place in the second semester of the school year. Because the first season only dealt with like the fall semester, and this one deals with like the spring semester. And honestly, I think it would have been better if they would have combined both seasons as one. Because like they're only like 20-30 minutes long and they're only 10 episodes. Honestly, because season 2 is a bit more dramatic and stuff, and a lot of stuff carries on from season 1, it would have made more sense to combine both seasons into like a full one season. That way it could be like a full school year. And because when you do watch season 2 and you don't see certain things recur from last season, you just kind of like, well, didn't that happen last season? And oh, I forgot that happened last season. And then you tend to forget because it's been a while since this show's been on, because they've been filming stuff. Like Whitney, she plays sports. Barely seen or even mentioned in this season. A lot of the people she used to play sports with have disappeared. Like one of the girls appeared in like the first episode, and then her one black friend who is like a lesbian, she pops in and out the show, but only is there to like be comedic relief and just talk to Whitney as just like a pal support. So she is very much a recurring character. Jocelyn, the one who's in the wheelchair, and now one gay dude who seems to be gender fluid looking. They just randomly appear in episodes. They pop in, they pop out. Jocelyn's just literally only there for like comedic relief. Still don't know much about her other than her just being a wild child. And as for the dude whose name escapes me right now, don't know nothing about him, like whatsoever. So let's start off with the one who is still my favorite from last season, and that is Kimberly. Kimberly is still that little mousy girl who is like, sheltered and still doesn't understand people and stuff like that. And it just makes her seem so lovable and enjoyable. And she reminds me of a friend I had once in college. And so last season, her biggest woe is me towards the end of the season was that she exposed this fraternity for like cheating on their test. And she was dating Nico, who is the brother of Lycan, her roommate, and the one she's closest with when it comes to her friends on campus. And as a result of like, turning them in and this and that, and her constantly neglecting that of like her schoolwork when she got in a relationship, I think she lost like her scholarship or something like that. And she comes from a poor family, so she has a hard time paying for college, which is why she works at Sips, which is kind of like Starbucks on campus. And so I always wonder, how are they going to address this in the next season? Are they just going to like reward her with like money or something like that? Or is she really going to struggle or be forced to like drop out of school? Well, she's still in school, but they don't explain how her classes are paid for in the second term. I know her housing is paid for because I guess like the scholarship and the grants and whatnot have, pay for that in like advance. But so far, they only mentioned her taking like one class. Maybe that's the only one she could like afford and stuff. And so she doesn't ask her parents for money. And in fact, they don't even know her woe is me's and everything. She doesn't want to bother them with that. Nico did not return this season. Why didn't the actor return? Don't know. And so I was wondering how exactly she's gonna get the money, you know what I'm saying? And so one way she gets the money is she sees a flyer about donating your eggs. And so she sees that and sees how much money it is and is all like, all right, I'll do it and everything. And so the other people, like her friends, are kind of like, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's like a big thing. And it really is a big thing, donating your eggs. I'm not here to pass no judgment, nothing like that. But it's just kind of weird. It's kind of like same thing like donating your sperm. It's kind of like, what if you're one of those people who gets picked? You're gonna create a child and you're never gonna see that child and everything. Not to mention, what if like you grow up or the child grows up and say your child's into older people and then y'all hook up. You won't even know that's your child. Or say like they hook up with one of their relatives because they don't know their family. And that can cause like birth defects and like illnesses and stuff like that. And so I've always wondered about people who do that stuff. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like I couldn't make someone and then never see that person. And I'm not passing judgment. Like people gotta make babies the way they gotta make babies, and some people, like I say, their eggs and sperm aren't like the way it needs to be to create a child. And but a lot of people who donate, some people donate just out of the kindness of their hearts, and others just do it for money. And so I've been wondering, this is only for like a semester. Like, what's she gonna do the next school year and everything? Like, what's she gonna do for money? Is she gonna like sell her eggs again? Or, like what is she gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So they never really addressed that part of what she's gonna do after the following year. But like, but she's all like gun-ho about this and everything. And she's gonna sell them. And she really didn't even give it much thought. She just like, okay, I'll do it and stuff like that. And because you know how she is and stuff. And so for the first probably episode, maybe two, maybe three, they address this. And she has to take like hormone pills and this and that. So Lighten is like her life support. She helps her do like, the injections and stuff like that because she can't do them herself. And, her and Lycan, they still bonded from last season because, Kimberly was the only person who knows about like, Lycan being like a lesbian and stuff. And so like it's funny when she's all like, I'm here to support you and everything like that. And you know how she goes out when she tries to support diverse people because she was so sheltered growing up. And so, like, the whole paying for college thing, that reminds me of this one girl who I knew from like a group of friend of mine. And we was all hanging out at the beach one night and I discovered she was a stripper and stuff. And like, it's funny because some people, they do whatever they have to do for like money to pay for college and stuff like that. Nowadays people are just using fans. But then again, when people are on OnlyFans, they're not even going to college no more and stuff, or they go to TikTok. And so I'm surprised they didn't go down that avenue route of her just going on social media, probably being like a YouTuber, an influencer, a TikToker, something like that, and making money like many of those people do and stuff. And they just went for the easy, viable route of just selling her eggs and stuff. But it's not the 70s no more. It's like there are different possibilities and online possibilities of making money. And so like, and it's also like with that GoFundMe thing, you know what I'm saying? So I'm surprised they didn't go that route. And so like, so that happens in like the first like probably like 2-3 episodes, and then it's never addressed ever again. So I do wonder how she's gonna get money for the next term. Well, what else is going on with her this season is she has a new love interest. There's a guy named Andrew who's next door. And at first she can't stand Andrew because all she hears is him clickety clacking in with a girl. And it's so loud, she's at the point where she just wants to go over there and bang on his door. But when she sees what he looks like, her and the rest of the girls, even liking, are like drooling with their jaws on tongues on like, wagging on the floor and stuff. Because he's like this really tall, good looking, muscular dude. And so one thing about his character that I like that they did is that they didn't make him a stereotype. He's actually really nice, really caring, and he's cares about his schoolwork and everything. This causes her to like him, that and the muscles. So at some point, she just jumps his bones and they start doing it and stuff like that. And so for the remainder of the season, they're just clickety clacking and stuff. and stuff. And so then it gets to the point where she starts to realize we don't got nothing in common. And so they literally tell her, you just go for like good looking muscular dudes, which is not true because her first boyfriend she had in high school was not muscular at all and everything. She only got that way when like, she got to college and stuff. But she's still like dating him. Well, there's a situation that's going on her campus with a place where she works at. The campus is running out of money and they're slashing budgets here and there. And so SIPS is one of those places being affected because they're not able to get the bonuses and pay that other campuses are. So everybody stages a strike. And before I get into that, she also helps. Well, I'll get into Lila later because she actually has more to do. So I'll give her own profile thing. So she's staging a strike and everybody's on strike. And so she's basically telling all her friends, like boycott, like, SIPs and everything until they pay us what we need. This reminds me of something I once saw on a show called Dish Nation. Now on Dish Nation, it's like a variety of like radio stations coming together to be on TV and talking about like pop culture stuff. One is the Heidi and Frank show, and Heidi is a lesbian and Frank is straight. And so during the time, remember when Chick-fil-A decided like, they did something. I think they boycotted LGBT something or another. It's something that pissed a lot of people off. And so a lot of LGBT people were boycotting them. And so like, I think they're like a Republican owned like business or something like that. Or the founders like a Republican. And it's something they said about LGBT marriage rights. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, so people was boycotting that and Heidi was boycotting that. And she told Frank, are you going to support me after the many decades we've been friends and working together? Are you going to boycott like, Chick-fil-A and everything? I forget what his response was. But basically, Kimberly does the same thing to her friends and the same thing to her boyfriend. I've seen stuff like this before. People like, hey, boycott this for this cause, but they kind of force it on other people. I get the cause that people want to boycott something. Like if you want to boycott something, you boycott something. If you want to support somebody in boycotting something, you boycott somebody. However, it's when people shove it down people's throats, that's when people start to have a problem and stuff. Because they're kind of like, well, this affects you, but it's not affecting me. And so what is really the solution in things like this? It's kind of like you can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. And that place is like the only place, they have to eat. And so her friend is all like, well, where are we going to eat at now? Because they don't cook in their room and stuff. And because that's something a lot of college kids don't do. They don't cook. They just go to where they're on campus and they eat there. So she didn't consider that. And then when it comes to her boyfriend, it's kind of interesting because she tells him, he was wondering what she's doing. She's like, oh, I'm boycotting this because blah, 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 blah. And they ain't paying us the money we need. He's like, oh, that's a great thing. And then a second later, he goes into the restaurant and grabs like a sandwich. Which pisses her off, and rightfully so, because it's kind of like that's his girlfriend. She's trying to stand up for what she believes in and get paid the money that she wants, and he could eat someplace else, but he decides to eat there. So she's kind of visibly like pissed and everything, and he's just kind of like, I'm hungry. And so I would have loved to have seen them having a falling out because of that. That would have added some good drama and stuff. It would have been similar to like drama, say like in first season. But there's no real argument other than just her being like upset and everything. Now, how did they get what they need for the school to give them like money and stuff like that? Well, this is the part, it comes into last season with them being rewarded and stuff. So her friend and roommate, Whitney, her mother is a senator. And so Sherri Shepherd is still up here, at least only on one episode. So that's a good thing. Not in multiple ones like she did last season. And so she needs her roommate's mom to like give the good word and everything like that. So basically she gets online and she says nice stuff, and and it gives them the support they need to end the strike and get the money they want. Now in real life, most likely this would never happen. Not everybody is friends with a parent that is a senator. And so I wish they would have their strike would have really affected the people on campus, and the people on campus could see why it's so important for them to get paid the wages that they need, because in the restaurant business you don't get paid that much. And so I would have preferred they didn't go the easy route and just get them rewards by having the senator say some nice stuff, but actually make a point to the people on campus. Because as you can see, it didn't make no point to her boyfriend and stuff like that. And so basically after that, she really doesn't do much for the rest of the season. We really don't even see her with her boyfriend that much no more. But then she helps Lila out get like a higher position at the place they work at. And then it comes to Kanan. Now her and Kanan used to hang out a lot in the first season, and they used to have she was very unaware of black people, mostly because the place she's from don't have a lot of black folks in it. So it was some hilarious stuff a little bit in season 1 and some self-aware stuff that I wish the writers would have done a bit better. But in this season, him and Whitney have already broken up since the first episode or second episode or something. And so we really don't get to see much of him, and he really doesn't interact that much with Kimberly. But then there was some kind of event thing he's going to, because he's apparently really smart, which we never saw in season 1, but he does really good in his classes. This is why I wish they would focus a bit more on him. And so she persuades him, go and get this award and everything, you deserve it. So he doesn't want to go alone. He lies to her and says he asked this one girl who used to have a crush on him, and she rejected him. And so he asked Kimberly, and she said, yeah. While she's there, she finds out that this dude is smarter than the audience knew, and he actually helped a fundraiser, a donation thing for like, some type of kids. I forget what. And so there's a lot more to him that the audience just don't know because they don't ever go into him that much. He's only there just to be like, dating material for whoever and that plot thread. And so they're dancing and everything. It's a fast dance. But then when it gets to the slow dance, they still decide to dance. They give each other looks here and there, and he gives her a look. After this, we see her run back to her dorm next door to where her boyfriend is, and she tells him we're breaking up. And I'm just like, what? I couldn't believe that because now she has eyes for Kanan and stuff. And she doesn't even really know if he likes her back. She just straight up broke up with like her boyfriend. And there's no fallout from him and her and Andrew breaking up because he just takes it off screen and everything. And so it would have been nice to see more of that drama and stuff. We would like to know what his expression is other than just being in shock and awe, you know what I'm saying? And so like she asked Lila, should she ask like, Kanan out? And Lila's like, no. Lila's like, that is your roommate and friend's ex, and you just don't go down that territory. And not only that, but he sees you as like an annoying kind of sister. And so Lila starts making a bunch of stuff up. Well, that's not going to stop Kimberly and everything. So she goes to like the girl that supposedly rejected him, and she's all like, he ain't never come to me about asking me out and stuff like that. So she knows he's lying. So she asks him, why did you lie to me and all this other stuff? And so he doesn't really give her a straight answer, but then when they're at a party, they talk a little bit more, and you can see the flirtation between like the two of them, but there's awkwardness and they're scared and stuff. Well, when he leaves to go to another party, she does like one of the most romantic movie things ever. She leaves the party and she runs to find him and everything. And she calls his name out as he's with a group of his friends, and she runs down the steps. And then they talk a bit more, and then boom, they kiss and everything. And this is why I think season 2 should have been combined with season 1. In season 1, I said I wanted to see those two get together for the longest time. I never felt like her and Nico should never been together. It's because like her and Kanan always spent more time together in season 1. And not only that, but she is very self-unaware of black people and tries her best to be aware, and she stands up for him when those kids were being kind of like racist to him in the season 1. And that would have been the perfect thing if they would have got like together. She could have understood self-awareness better with black people. It just would have just been so much better if they would have got together in season 1. But of course, who is spying on them as they're kissing? Whitney. And Whitney is very sad by this. And so like towards the end, like when it comes to room assignments of the next semester, like I remember those. God, I hated that because you always put on the end because you're like the freshman and stuff. And so, cause remember, they're still 18 and everything, even though this is the second season. And so, like, Lycan wants to go live with the sorority girls, and Bella wants to live off campus with her writers group. And so Whitney and what's her name? Kimberly decide they're gonna be roommates next semester and try to be put on a waiting list together. But then it's funny because Kimberly's all like, do we invite Bella to live with us in like a 3-room situation, or is it just gonna be me and you as a duo? And Whitney's kind of like, why don't we try both? So it's kind of like it's weird because like they're kind of getting to the point where they kind of don't want Bella to be their roommate no more because Bella is so Bella and stuff. And I wish they would have addressed this a lot more. But then towards the end, Whitney asked her, so did you do anything interesting last night, knowing that she saw them? And Kimberly's kind of like, she hesitates. She's kind of like, nope, nothing at all. And she just looks sad with her head down. And that really makes Whitney sad. So hopefully there's going to be some good drama between that next season. because one of the things about the code is you don't date your ex's like lover and stuff. And Kimberly completely betrayed Whitney in that source because Whitney was not the one who broke up with Kanan. Kanan broke up with her because I'm about to get into that a little bit later. And she didn't even ask Whitney, hey, would this be like okay and everything? She just jumped right on in. And a lot of people do that when like in life and then in college. So it would have been nice that would have been more dramatic. Holy crap, I've been talking for over 20 minutes. Let me get into Whitney. Okay, Jackson is the name of the dude who hooked up with Kimberly. My bad. So a lot of stuff about Whitney has changed from that of the last season. There's no more drama between her and her mom. In fact, I don't even think her and her mom talk, but she still just keeps her distance from her mom because her mom is so annoying. There's nothing, again, about her father from that last season, even though she liked her father more than she liked her mother. But like, there's no mention of him whatsoever. Now, in the last season, she did rush a sorority, but she really particularly didn't like these people for whatever reason. She's still rushing it because they liked her a little bit more than they liked liking and stuff. And so we really don't get much for her in that sorority, even though she is still doing the rush week, and I guess she got accepted and everything like that. But like I said before, there's not much between that and the sorority. Now, with Whitney being the only black person in the main cast, other than just recurring ones and everything, there are still a lot of black awareness stuff that goes on with her and stuff. Some things I agree with, some things I do not, being that of a black person myself. I would have liked for her to have more interaction with the sorority to see if they treat her differently because she's black, or the reason why they accepted her only because she's black. And so because it's only 10 episodes, about 20 30 minutes long, we never get nothing like that. Now, in last season, she started to hang out with a group of black people and stuff. I assume she would still be hanging out with them this season, but that's only happens on one episode, but only one episode only. So I don't know what happened to that group and why she doesn't hang out with them more, because she really didn't like the sorority. So it's a little disconjointed between the narrative of her and that sorority and that one black group from that season one. Now, in season one, she is known for doing sports and being very athletic, but in this season, we see none of that whatsoever, and that's kind of odd and weird. It's almost like a lot of stuff that happened with her last season has been completely erased, especially that of her dating her teacher, or not her teacher, but her coach. Or coach assistant. Yeah, she dated the coach assistant, and he was married and stuff. And so there's no mention of that whatsoever. Now, towards the end of the first season, she decided to hook up with that of Kanan. And so now they're still going strong this season, hooking up. She assumes they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and I assume that too. But apparently he doesn't even know they're dating. He just thinks they're doing it. And so he finally asked her to be like his girlfriend and stuff, which kind of weirds her out a little bit because she thought they was dating. And so like they're going good until she overhears him talked about her to his friends. I forget what he said, but it really upset her, so she confronted him about that. He apologized, and then everything was good until she started to get jealous of this one girl who works at Sips. This one girl was just hanging out with him, and that's it. And so she just started getting jealous, and she started getting paranoid. Well, she finds out that the girl, well, then this is what happened. He was at a Santa party, not Santa party, a frat party, and he was dressed as Santa. And so he had no place to put his phone, so he's all like, can you hold my phone for me the whole night? Well, of course, guess what she does? She goes through the phone, and she's looking for evidence of him cheating, but she can't find none. But she finds a text message from the girl from Sips. And so, like, the girl kind of like asked him out, something like that, but he rejected her. He didn't tell her. And so that pissed her off, and so she confronts him about it. And he's all like, whoa, what are you doing going through my phone? That's an invasion of privacy. And she's all like, well, you ain't telling me she, like, asked you out and everything like that. And he's all like, because it wasn't a big deal, and he rejected her because he only has eyes for her. But because she betrayed him by going through his privacy, he decided, you know what, if you can't trust me, then we're broken up. And he literally breaks up with her. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, what she did was wrong, but geez, he didn't have to break up with her because of that. However, it is nice seeing she's not getting rewarded and stuff. And that's one problem I had, well, especially with all the girls last season, is every bad thing they did, they were rewarded, and everybody's like, okay, that's whatever, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, they are totally broken up. And so because of that, her main focus this season is with her class she's taken. Her and Bella has taken some type of science class, and they overhear two guys saying like this class is really hard and a lot of people drop it after like the first day. Well, her and Bella have decided they're gonna stick it out and prove that they can do it and stuff. Well, because Bella is Bella, she's chatting it up with Whitney, and this disturbs one of the boys in class. And so he calls her out, and he's all like, "Can you be quiet?" And so both her and Bella get pissed at this dude because he told them to be quiet, and it got the attention of the professor. So they're getting mad at this one student. Crap, what is that dude's name? Um, I think it's Eric. Wait, is Eric the one who was next door to? Crap. Okay, I'm getting Eric and Andrew mixed up. I don't know which is which. Anyway, it's the dude with the brunette hair. He is pissed at her and everything, and she's getting pissed back. And then so it keeps going back and forth with them two telling each other to be quiet and stuff like that. And so like, but she sticks with the class and she's actually doing good. Bella is not, because Bella doesn't study. And so because of this, one of her situations she's having in class is that there's this one student who mistakes her for another black girl, I think named Monique or something like that. And he keeps calling Whitney Monique and stuff. And so she kind of just like she just like blew it off, you know what I'm saying? But then she told her friends, like, he keeps calling me this other black girl in class and da 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 da, stuff like that. So she wants to confront him about it and everything. And this is a problem that a lot of people of color has when white people always mistake them from somebody else. And so she tells him, hey, look, that's not my name. That's that girl's name. My name is Whitney. He's like, oh, okay, sorry. I just didn't know. So then the next time he does it again. And so it pisses her off. And then so she talks to her friends some more about it. And then so she confronts him about it. And when she confronts him about it, she's like, look, there are two black girls in class. My name is Whitney. Her name is Monique. We are not the same person. He pulls the white girl tear defense and he starts crying and everything. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm not racist. I just honestly did not know, like, you know, what your name was. And I keep forgetting and stuff. And so then she's kind of upset because he's like crying and stuff. Now, this is something that happens, like I said before, with people of color a lot. Like, you know, a lot of people assume that they're this other person who's like a celebrity and whatnot. And then there is a white girl defense when it comes to tears and everything. When people call them out on their like bigotry and stuff, and they start to cry and everything. And some people wonder, they just crying just because they're really upset, or are they crying because they're trying to get out of it? Because so many of them do it just to get out of it. People don't know if they're really being sincere when the ones who are being sincere are being sincere. My thing about this is like this. Some people just look like other people. I have mistaken people a lot for other people, mostly celebrities. These celebrities right here I have all like mistaken for one another because they look similar to each other. Does that make me racist? No. Once I know who they are, I stop doing it. And my thing is like, if you do it on purpose, then that is a problem. If it's an honest to God mistake, people should just take it as a mistake. The problem is people don't take it as mistakes no more because like people are getting very, 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 very tired of it. And there are people who literally do it just to spite people. And that is a problem in society. In society, I feel like it's like this. It's kind of like the pronoun thing. If it is a mistake, Do not go to war with somebody. But if you know for a fact they are doing it on purpose and just to be a little butthead about it, then by all means confront them and put them in their place and stuff. And so it is good that this get addressed and like, the show. But sometimes it's kind of like, they made that dude seem like he's the bad guy, like he did on purpose, when in actuality, he really didn't. It was just really just like a mistake and everything. And I wish that God, this would have happened with the sorority instead of this random guy who only appears in one episode and stuff, because it would have been so much better if it was the sorority and stuff. Now, what does she do for the rest of the season? Well, remember the guy in her science class that she does not like? Somehow they have a project to do together. And so when they do the project together, he wants to do it all himself because he thinks that she's just going to blow it off and not that smart. But then he makes a mistake and she corrects him. This impresses him. What do? They clickety clack, and they clickety clack for the rest of the season towards that of the end. This guy is so annoying. He's like Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. I am not kidding. He condescends people. He thinks he's better than people. He thinks he's smarter than people, and he bosses people around. When they go on dates, he does everything. He looked online to see what the menu is, and when they got there, he's all like, there's no need to ask us what we want. I've already seen the menu online. And then he orders for the both of them and everything. And he's always talking about like, are you done? Are you done? Put that down. So like, he's always bossing her around, but yet they keep clicking and clacking it. And so he's also good at basketball. And so she plays him in basketball. And this is the only time we see her do sports. And one time they're doing it in the library, and Kanan walked in and was very shocked. Not shocked in an upset kind of way because, he is the one who broke up with her. But he is just like, crap, I didn't mean to see that. And so she wants to break up with this dude, but she's having a hard time. And so finally it gets to the point where she finally broke up with him. But she doesn't tell him why. We don't know exactly what are all the reasons why she don't like him. We see the reasons, but we don't know her real reason. Because she has this thing, like with the first season when she hooked up with her coach. She always goes for these like terrible, lame guys. And so that's what she attracted to. So it was kind of weird. She was with Kanan because he's nothing like these other two dudes. And so like, we don't know exactly why she broke up with him and the problem she's having, but it's probably the bossing around and him always thinking he's smarter than people. And so when he's in class and he's giving a demonstration, he starts to cry. He keeps looking at her and he's upset because she broke up with him. I hate that they did this with two males now that are revolved around her. They made them look so weak by crying all because of her. And this would not have happened in real life and everything. Them guys would not have cried like that and stuff. And then, of course, like I said, she still now has feelings for Kanan. She kind of misses him because she was not the one who broke up with him. But then when she sees Whitney making out with him, not Whitney because she is Whitney, when she sees Kimberly making out with him, that upsets her. So hopefully there'll be some good drama between those two in the next season. Before I get into the others, let me get into Lila first. I think that's her name. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, Lila. Lila actually has a bigger role this season. At first, she starts off the exact same way as she was before, only hanging out with Kimberly and talking to her. And then all of a sudden, she gets introduced to Bella, and she helps Bella with her little writing stuff. Lila is a very obnoxious type person and a very sexual person. It's just she flaunts like her sexual personality everywhere. She says what's on her mind as bluntly as it is. She's one of those type of people you're kind of shocked that is not canceled in cancel culture because of Me Too stuff, because she's always saying something inappropriately similar to that of Bella and stuff like that, and even kisses people without their permission only because the Cups said so at the like party and stuff. And so she has this very, very out there personality. Now, one interesting thing is that there's a position power at SIPS, and Kimberly suggests that, hey, you should do it. And she gets mad at Kimberly's all like, why would you suggest this? I like being where I'm at. I don't want to be in charge of people, blah 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 blah, and blah 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 blah, and money money money, and what makes you think I need like the money? But then she decides to do it anyway because it turns out she didn't have the confidence in herself. And that's really interesting because when it comes to that of like her sexuality and her bluntness and body, she has a lot of confidence. But when it comes to her climbing up the ladder and being more successful, for some reason she cowers and everything. So that was nice to give her that little story arc in the season. She takes it, but then it comes to the whole strike thing. She doesn't want to do it because she just got in that position of power, but she goes in a way but under disguise. So after that is basically she's bops around from hanging out with that of Kimberly and that of Bella. And so she interacts a whole lot more and she has a lot more scenes and stuff to say. So that was nice that kind of boosted her character up because it always said she was a main character. But one problem I have with season 1 is that she was never a main character. She just seems like she was recurring and stuff. But this time it really does seem like she's climbing up the rankings of the cast list and stuff. So Lycan always has a very interesting story arc. In the first season, she was a closeted lesbian who did not want nobody to know what she was. She's rich, she's spoiled, she's blunt, she's rude, and like she started dating a girl on campus when she got in trouble and had to go to this all girls group so she wouldn't be suspended from school. And so like she started dating Allison from last season, but Allison broke up with her because Lycan doesn't want nobody to see she's a lesbian. She takes like Allison out of town just so she can spend time with her alone. And then when Allison posted a picture of like, you know, like Lycan's like bag and everything, she's all like, people gonna recognize it? No, it's me. I don't want nobody to know it's me. I don't want nobody to know who I am. This causes a huge breakup between the two, and you know, because Lycan really did like her. Kimberly was the only person who knew what Lycan was. Well, in the beginning, Lycan has finally decided to come out to that of her friends and stuff, and they all accept her. And she decided, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be closeted. So now she goes on this huge journey of being out and about and very proud. And what does she do? She clickety clacks with as much girls as she can. Basically, she's letting her freak flag fly until about the end of the second episode when she starts peeing and it burns. What did she catch? An STD. To the much of surprise to her, me, and probably the rest of the audience. Because it's like, well, she was doing another girl. How in the heck did she catch it? And so, because you don't think of things like that. But the doctor tells her it is very common. And she has the kind you can get away with, get rid of with medicine. Now, there's an interesting story like that from my college days. I had a friend, she was female, and she's straight. And she decided, hey, you know what? I'm about to be loose like a goose. And that's what she was. She was letting her freak flag fly with as many random dudes as she would meet in clubs, bars, and online. And then one time she came to me and she's all like, I caught an STD. And it's not the kind you can get rid of. Basically, it's like the bump kind and everything. And so she has it for life. And, you know, that did make her slow her roll until she found the dude. I don't know if the dude has it himself, but you know, she's now married with him and stuff like that. So yeah, you can explore your sexuality. You just need to wrap it up and be careful with who you are and ask questions. There's no shame in asking your person, like, look, how many people you been with and you ever caught anything, blah, blah, blah. You gotta be safe, people. So this now brings on new drama, woe is me's for Lycan, because she has an STD. And so the way they handled this was kind of the way some people handle it in real life. But then, of course, it gets wrapped up in just one episode and kind of with like a nice bow. And she just like, I don't really like how they did that. So basically, she tells her roommates, and they're supportive, they're there for her. And so, one thing she has to do is she has to tell all her partners she's been with. She has decided, well, you know what? I'm not going to tell none of my partners because they didn't tell me, and I don't know who I got this from. And two of her roommates are all like, I agree with you. But of course, Kimberly, my favorite, is all like, you can't do that. You have to tell them and stuff, which is something you are supposed to do. You are supposed to tell your partners to find out who you got it from to stop the spread of that STD. Back in the day, you can actually go to jail for that crap. If you start spreading it knowing you have it and don't tell your other partners and they start spreading it, you used to be able to go to jail for that. And so some people used to die from some STDs and stuff because they literally did not know they had it and they were just spreading it to like everybody. And if somebody were to die from an STD, supposedly that used to be a long time ago considered murder and you can go to jail. I don't know how it is today, but you are supposed to tell people because you're supposed to find out who is patient zero and then try to stop the spread and everything. And so because they had her be so cavalier, like I ain't gonna tell nobody, I did not like how they addressed that. But she did get her comeuppance for a short while because when she was at that sorority mixer thing, one of her partners was at the party and she's all like, you gave me something. She's all like, well, how do I know you didn't give it to me? So I don't like how Lycan is treating this situation, but that is typical Lycan and stuff. And so her partner exposes Lycan to the entire sorority group. Now, this is the crap that happens in season one where they're rewarded because the other sorority girls, they don't care about the drama. They don't care because the one sorority girl tells her, like, literally, we don't want no drama. We don't want no situations. And she didn't know why the other sorority girl was making a big fuss on Lycan's partner. And so they were going to kick Lycan's partner out the sorority mixer thing so she can't rush no more. But then Lycan finally decided to confess when the girl like exposed her and everything. And so, but nothing bad happened to Lycan. And in fact, Lycan made the sorority. What happened to her partner that caught something? Don't know. Completely written off the show. This is literally only one episode she has to deal with the STD. But what about her other partners? Well, two of them had no idea they was getting played, and two of them are ex-lovers and stuff. And so this causes a lot of drama. So I was like, okay, this is good. Like, Lycan's been just like clickety-clacking as many people as she wants. This is bound to cause some problems because these girls are starting to like her and think they're in a relationship. And so this gets squashed in a few seconds as they were arguing, only because one of her friends all like, y'all need to stop. And so basically she just got away with it. And I'm just kind of like, I hate when they reward like, bad behavior and stuff. Well, for the rest of the season, Lycan takes a liking to this one girl she sees who looks just like her. Lycan literally revealed to her friends because they wanted to know which one of them did she like. And she's all like, I don't like none of y'all because y'all ain't my type. And it turns out Lycan is only attracted to herself, which makes no sense because all the girls we see her hook up with that is her dream girl. Her dream girl is to be with somebody who looks like her, but she dates other people. And so then she starts doing stalker type stuff, like kind of like the stereotype predatory les phrase and everything, where like in there's a phrase I've talked about this before, like on the show Scream Queens, how like something like this is it's a huge stereotype where a lesbian person literally stalks like another girl wanting to be with her, and another person doesn't want to be with her. So this is what she does to this one girl, but the other girl turns out to be a lesbian too, named Tatum. They look identical. And this is kind of brings up the whole Whitney thing. If somebody was to mistake Tatum for Lycan, would somebody be considered a racist then? Like, no, because they literally look alike and everything. But Tatum just doesn't look like her. She acts like her. She's rude, she's blunt, she's nasty, and she almost ran over Lycan with her car, but Lycan still takes a liking to her. Well, it's time for Lycan to come out to her folks. She tries to come out to her dad, but she gets scared. Well, her dad and his old college friends supposed to hang out, and they take Lycan, and it turns out to be Tatum's dad. So Lycan finally comes out to her father, and he's totally cool with it. And so that was one of the main problems she had, and her mom, because like they're so mean and rude and snooty. Because I think they got mad at Nico for dating Kimberly because like she's poor and stuff. At least the mom did. And so Lycan had a lot of fears of coming out. So her dad's totally cool with it. And so like her and Tatum, they break up because as soon as her and Tatum finally gets happy and Lycan is finally out and about and everything, Allison gets whiff of this and starts to text her. I'm like, oh God, drama. Allison has not been shown throughout the entire second season, but only appears in the last couple. And so Lycan finally decides to return back to that girls group where we meet those other two LGBT characters, and we haven't seen them either. And so like she's all like, I'm proud of you, this and that. And of course they need money because the school slashing their funds and everything. And so when Allison finds out that Allison is not Allison, but Lycan is dating, she's a little jealous. I'm all like, why are they going back down this route? Allison broke up with her for a big impactful reason. So now this no longer has stakes because now she's back interested. They throw a funny for like a fundraiser trying to get money up. When Tatum and Lycan go to the party, Tatum's being rude, don't want to be there, and Lycan's all like, if you can't accept my friends, then we're done and everything. So they break up. I would have liked this to have been better if it was with Lycan's roommates, but instead it's with that not really so much an LGBT. It's like a woman's group, but there's nothing but LGBT characters in there, and it's kind of weird that Tatum would be rude to them, even though she is part of the LGBT herself. But there are people who are part of the LGBT and go against their own people. These are like people like them fandom menace type people on like YouTube who's all like, we don't want this woke stuff and blah, blah, blah. And oh, they bring in LGBT characters. Well, one is like by herself. And so like, I'm losing my voice. I've been talking for a lot. So anyway, it's a little chilly. And so they break up. And then to help with Allison's money fundraiser, she donates thousands of dollars because she's rich. One thing Lycan likes to do is throw her money around to help out other people who don't have much. And so like she did that a lot with Kimberly in the first season and stuff. And it's almost like a way like she does it to be sincere, but she also does it to buy friends and stuff. Like when Kimberly had to go to get the hormone stuff injection, she had to go to the clinic, and Lycan decided, oh, don't drive with this person, just come with me instead and everything. And so she gets this fancy car with fancy water and all this other fancy stuff to like show Kimberly, hey, this is what high society looks like and stuff. And so it's nice, but it's not really so much sincerity if she's only doing it to buy friends. And so, oh, I forgot. The reason why she donated the money, oh, by the way, they kiss now. So they're back to being a couple now. So I'm just kind of like, last season had no stakes between those two because now she gets her happy ending with Allison. But anyway, the reason why she donated money is her mom's money. Her mom is all like, so I heard you're out. I've looked online on how to address this and I support you. So they go to the sorority mixer type thing, right? And her mom used to be in that sorority. Well, when her mom meets her old friend there, her mom's friend is kind of like a bigot towards that of LGBT. And this upsets Lycan. And so the lady is getting things mixed up, talking about like trans people and gender identity people and gender fluid people. She's getting that all mixed up with like homosexuality with gay and lesbian, and Lycan's all like, yo, they're not the same and everything. So this lady is thinking very 20th century and not that of the 21st century. And so one of the sorority girls, who the mother of that girl who liking mom knows, she goes to like, and she's like, look, they're old fashioned, they don't understand, blah 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 blah. This causes Lycan to decide, you know what, I don't want to be in this sorority no more, because she was gonna leave off campus to live with the sororities and leave her old roommates. And so she decides, you know what, I don't want to be part of this sorority no more. This is how they're gonna be. Problem with this is that, how does she know all the sorority girls are like this? She don't. It's only that one mother. So she made this assumption on the entire sorority based on this one person's mother. And all the sorority girls were cool with her being like a lesbian and still accepted her and everything. And they wanted her to like move in with them, but they didn't ask Whitney, who is still part of that sorority. So because of that, she rejected this sorority, don't want to be part of this sorority, and she wants to rejoin that women's group. And then her mom was supposed to donate to the sorority, but instead donated to the women's group. Now, I forgot to mention something with Whitney. Because of what happened between Kanan and Kimberly, she has decided she is going to move off campus and live with the sorority now. And Kimberly has no idea. Now let's get to, once again, the worst character in the entire show, Bella. So, Bella. If you ever watch my reviews of the first season, you know I hate Bella. I hate Bella to death. It's nothing against the actress. I like the actress a lot. It's just her character. Bella is sex positive. If Bella exists in the real world, Bella would have been not only Me Too to death, but canceled beyond belief. However, Bella gets away with all her inappropriateness of the first season. To the point of, like, you know, kissing people, jacking people, groping people. There's all kind of stuff. Messing around with girls' boyfriends, like, you just name it. And, you know, like, I think she humped somebody one time. I can't remember. But then she had a situation where a guy overheard all the bad stuff that she's been doing, all the sexual stuff to people, and he dry humped her. And then he did the same thing to another girl. This upset her, made her feel uncomfortable. Oh, she also started having people watch porn with her, but didn't tell people what it was and stuff like that, which is supposed to be like a no-no in society nowadays. And so because of that, the dude got in trouble, got canceled, got fired from his writings group, the comedy writer group. And so my thing about last season, even though what he did was wrong, and other stuff, like, she did similar things, but it was okay when she did it, but not him, and he got punished and she didn't. And because he never, I guess what you could say what he did is on the levels of kind of like groping, kind of, but not really. He was just like dry humping, but he didn't actually insert nothing or touch nothing or try to force nothing like that. But he has done it to other girls, so he is predatory in that sense. But you know, and because of that, they never had like any type of trial. They just, like, she just said he did it. All the girls believed him. With one guy did not, named Eric. But then later on, Eric did believe her for whatever reason and decided, let's just cancel him. But the thing is, like, we know the audience. We know what he did was wrong, but none of the other characters in the show did. So he basically got canceled without any kind of like trial or this and that. And that is one of the most dangerous things about cancel culture. Now, I'm for Me Too. I am for people getting canceled if they did something terrible. But the thing is like I've always said before, if something bad happens to you, by all means, accuse that person. Let the word be known. And then you're always supposed to believe a victim no matter what. But then the moment you believe them, you are supposed to investigate. You are supposed to find out if that person did what that person said they did and how bad it was. And one of the problems about society nowadays is people just jump on the bandwagon and it's all like, let's just get rid of this person without knowing if a person actually did something bad. And that was one of the major problems I had with the first season. And so with this season, Bella is still exactly the same way she is. She still says inappropriate stuff. She still touches people. She still does this. She still does that. And so, like, but it's not to the extreme level of last season. Now, she is still in that females writer group. Her and a group of other girls, they decided to get away from the dudes and create our own comedy writing thing because the guys are just too toxic and stuff. And so because of that, Eric decided he was going to move away from his friend who dry humped Bella and the Eric dude, and he was going to stop being friends with that guy. And it really hurt him because he was friends with that dude, but he didn't like what that dude did. So now he has to find a new place to stay off campus, and he's still with that writers group. Well, I was wondering if we were going to see them because it seemed like those two liked each other towards the end of the first season. Well, when Bella is upset about something, somehow she found out where Eric lived at, and went to his apartment, and he's just kind of like, how did you know where I lived at? I made it to a point where you could not find me and stuff like that. So he doesn't want nothing to do with her and stuff. But then she walks into his room, starts talking this and that. But then she gets horny and they start doing it. And then as soon as they done doing it, what does she do in front of him? She's scrolling on Tinder. And he's all like, dude, we just did it. And you putting this in my face and strolling on Tinder. She's all like, but you're on Tinder. He's like, yeah. But see, they're not dating. They're just doing it. And they've been doing it for a good while. And so he's all like, yeah, but I ain't going to do it in front of your face, and everything like that. So it's just that they're clickety clacking and stuff. And so then after a while, she sees this dude with like no shirt on, and she's totally hot for him. And so she starts banging him, and he's shorter, and she's all like, ah, he's great. And she's even mentioning him to Eric while they're like in bed and stuff. And she's all like, but you're better and everything, and blah, blah, blah. So she's starting to take a liking to Eric. Well, one of the things about last season is that she wants to party, and she can't because the fraternity that got in trouble, a lot of those dudes got like suspended and left. So they have banned the 4 girls from like going to frat parties. So Bella wants to go. And so instead of keeping to convictions and banning the girls, but you know, the girls should never been banned because the boys were doing bad stuff by cheating and stuff. I don't know if every guy knew, but a lot of them did. So Bella makes it up by staging some type of like fundraiser type thing, a Magic Mike kind of style, where she invites the fraternity guys to basically strip and everything like that and party and all this other stuff for like a fundraiser. And for whatever reason, that fraternity accepted, even though they're pissed at Bella and them. They all did all this just so the girls can start partying again. And one of the teachers all like, we can't have our college males stripping and everything like that. She's like, all right, fine. Whatever reason, just make sure no pants come off. And so kind of once again, Bella gets her way. Like she got back into the good graces of that fraternity. She allowed the dude to do like that Magic Mike thing, even though it is not supposed to happen on campus. And so that kind of bugged me. When it comes to Bella, she is still kind of being rewarded for all her bad behavior, but she does get her comeuppance towards the end in a way I did not expect to happen. So, like, she's cut things off with the short dude and is now totally with Eric and everything. But like Eric now has a girlfriend, and so she is jealous and everything, and she's being very two-faced and hypocritical, talking about like, why does he have another girl for him, blah 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 blah, and we used to bang. And she's all like, well, you banged other dudes. And she's all like, yeah, but when I do it, it's cute because I'm a girl, but when he does it, it's sexist and everything. And I'm just like, Bella is so two-faced. But at least I'm glad the writers addressed that she is two-faced, because she was very two-faced in like the last season, but they never had her specifically like address it and stuff, just shown it. And so at least she's aware of it. So what does she do? She runs to some random fraternity dudes who she was upset with before, and she just sees the first dude who's shirtless, because so many guys are shirtless this season, and she's just all like, you're gonna be my date for the night and blah blah blah. And he's like, who are you? And she's like, I'm the one who you're pissed at. He's like, well, why would I go to a date with you? Because like, you're hot, I'm hot, let's do it. So anyway, he goes. And so she's trying to make Eric jealous, but the dude ends up bonding with Eric and Eric's girlfriend. And so this pisses off Bella to where she even puts like fake contacts in her eyes or messing her eyes up. She goes to the bathroom and she wants to know, and Eric wants to know why she's being weird and all this other crap. And Eric's girlfriend can tell that Bella is jealous. In a way, her and Eric, they do it on the bathroom floor. Now they are fully a couple and everything. And this is messed up because he was literally dating another girl and stuff. So now it makes both of them look like terrible people. So in a way, they're going strong until this one famous comedian comes on campus and stuff. And she's basically his assistant, like a paid, not she's not even really a paid slave. She's just like, she does everything for free. And so she really wants to give him a sample of her writing material because she really wants to make it in the comedy scene. Well, at some point in time, both her and Eric sabotage each other's like writing group and stuff. She sabotaged theirs somehow, and then he sabotaged it back. And then when he did it back to her, she got pissed. But it's like, you did it first. But anyway, the comedy dude is liking some of her stuff, but Eric takes a liking. It's all like, hey man, let me submit this and that and blah blah. So he takes a liking to Eric. This pisses her off, and she gets mad at Eric, talking about why in the world are you like smoothing in on like, you know, this comedy dude? Like, you know how bad I want to be like a writer, and you know this is my chance. And then here you is like inserting yourself. He's all like, look, it's everybody's playing field, and you're doing the exact same thing and everything. They both want to make it. So what does Bella do? She does the one thing I was very shocked. She uses her feminine wiles to get in the good graces of the comedy dude. How? By going to his hotel and sleeping with him, cheating on Eric. But she's all like, then she feels bad that she cheated on Eric, but then she's all like, I'm not even gonna tell him. And I'm like, holy crap, dude. Bella is just like terrible. Like, first she breaks him up with his girlfriend, then she gets with him only to cheat on him and everything, just so she can get higher up. And it reminds me of how she got into that male writer group to begin with. She basically whacked and jacked a bunch of dudes who had girlfriends and stuff. And the girlfriends got pissed, but they still accepted Bella. And that's what I hate about the whole reward system of the first season. However, Bella is not getting rewards, she's getting her come-uppings. That comedy dude blabbed to everybody, and Eric found out because Bella was not going to tell him. And when he finds out, he literally breaks up with Bella. And I mean, he breaks up with her in a bad way. And it really makes her sad and depressed. And then this is all we see of Eric now. Well, after that happened, she just was kind of like, okay, time to live life and everything. So it's not even affecting her no more. She's back to her jolly, happy self. And so, like, now the women's writers group is about to be recognized and everything for the stuff they're writing. So they're bringing in new members, and they have to take like a portrait. Well, Bella takes one by herself, but then she takes one with the group. The one she took by herself makes her look really hot, and the dude who was like, you know, taking the picture and doing all this other stuff, he's all like, this is a great picture. Then she's like, oh, maybe we can put the ones with the entire group so it won't be all about me. But then she decided, nah, that's all right. Just keep the picture of me being hot and everything. And so, like, and then he starts asking a bunch of questions, but then she makes it all about herself. And so, like, there's this one girl who's new to the writers group, and then Bella's kind of like, you know, I've been like batting for you, but you remind me a lot of myself, and I like that. But, you know, I'm gonna have to cut you because your stuff just isn't that good and everything. And so that really upset that girl, and it's kind of like Bella just completely just like pulverized her, and, you know, is getting greedy. Well, the girl decided to expose Bella and try to cancel her online. And Bella's like, oh my God, I'm being canceled and everything. And she's all like, this girl saying all this bad stuff about me and all this other crap. And she's all like, she only has like 40 followers. Ain't nobody gonna pay attention to her. But that's what her friends tell her. Then the backlash comes, and she's getting more of her comeuppings. The writers girl group is pissed that Bella is on the cover and not them, and all the questionnaires are all about Bella, and Bella lied and is all like, oh, the dude did that and everything. They talked to the guy. He's all like, no, it was all Bella. So now they're pissed that Bella hogged all the spotlight for them, for herself, and didn't highlight the group. And they all like, you know, the part of the reason why we created this group is because the guys didn't treat us fairly. So they kick Bella out the group. And Bella's kind of like, oh, but where am I gonna like stay next semester and everything? This is gonna be kind of awkward. And they're all like, you ain't staying with us next semester and stuff. We gave your room up. And they also pissed about how she treated that girl and stuff. So Bella is in a very slumpy, bad state where she is depressed. And the ending kind of really shocked me because Bella was talking to this person and she talked about how like, I really screwed up this season. And every time I kept trying to do something, I just kept making things worse. And it turns out Bella is very insecure. Bella tells this lady, I just want everybody to like me and everything, but nobody likes me because I keep screwing up. And because, you know, we know Bella is always talking about how she has small boobs and she hates how everybody else has big boobs. And there was this one girl she grew up with who's younger than her. And the girl now has bigger boobs and her face no longer has acne and stuff. And this always like upsets her. And so the woman she's talking to is like a person who works for like the school. And she's all like, I want to be transferred. So Bella is at the point where she's so upset because she lost her boyfriend. That one fraternity is, they're okay with her now, but sometimes they get kind of pissy at her. That girls group does not want her no more, and she has decided she has had enough because now she's being exposed online for the person that she is, and her sex positivity ways is just really kind of irking people and stuff. It's even to the point where her roommates don't want to be her roommates no more because Bella literally came in on them and didn't knock, and they're all like, Bella, they shouted at her and they're like, we told you when the door is closed you knock. And she's all like, but it's the last day of school, the rules don't apply no more. Bella just does what Bella wants to do, and not only on top of that, she doesn't study. She keeps failing all her classes, and she only has like a 1 point something GPA because she's not taking nothing seriously. Everything is starting to accumulate. The Bella is realizing that she is screwing up, but the way she's trying to handle it is just like disappear from the school and start new. And this is something that's really interesting that can really, if they really write this smart, they can not only turn Bella around to be a better character, but write some really juicy, dramatic stuff for her of the third season if they do it correctly, which I don't think they're gonna do because they only have 10 episodes and they're really short. And they don't have time to go through everything. And they like to wrap everything up in one episode type thing. And so this was like a really interesting revelation to that of Bella because I cannot express how much I hate that character, and especially last season. If you would have seen my videos from last season, I made too many. I made a non-spoiler review. I made a spoiler review that I had to cut in half because it was 3 hours long. And then I did a video thinking that the show creators hate men because that's how it seemed in last season and stuff. And, you know, but for the most part, Bella's roommates do get tired of her, but they still like her, but she's just gonna abandon them too. So this is really interesting because the thing about her in the last season, she was sheltered growing up because her parents, you know, we don't see her parents this season at all. But the thing about her parents, they want her to be a doctor. She want to be a comedic writer. She has to wear a bunch of like, you know, skirts and dresses when she's around her parents and kitty type stuff. But then when she's here on campus, she just wears a bunch of pants and suits and walks around half naked and stuff like that all the time. And so she's becoming a very interesting, complex character. And I hope they write her smart in the next season so they can build on what they've already built on her and then turn her character around so people can actually understand why she is the way she is and, like, you know, make her into a better character. She also reminds me of people I knew in college and stuff. And it's funny with the whole spackle thing because, like, it's the last day of school and she's all like, okay, so say you put some decorations in your room, they left holes and blah, 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 blah. Well, my parents have to pay for that. And they're like, yes, they will. She's like, well, I will need some spackle. And that's so funny because something happened like that with a friend of mine where I saw her on the last day covering up holes in her room with spackle because she put things on her wall that left holes and stuff. And, you know, And it's funny because like these like insecure, because you always wondered for the longest time what made her so sex positive, other than her parents wanting her to be a doctor. It was never really truly explained, and now we know. Not only did she come up from a very high-ranking type family who have high expectations of her and her being sheltered, but she wants literally everybody just to like her and everything because she thinks deep down inside nobody likes her and stuff. And I'm like, man, I never thought I would feel for this character and stuff. So I do think this season is a huge improvement over the last. It's sad it wasn't as dramatic as the last one. It's sad that the jokes weren't as edgy as the last one, but it still held up a lot better, I think, than the first season. Because with the first season, it really seemed like the girls are just being rewarded for all their bad behavior, and men are just monsters or very weak and everything. And also, all the diverse people they had were literally just there just to be diverse, but there was really nothing to those characters. So I was glad they kind of expanded a little bit more on those characters and then just throw them in because, like, you know, they're diverse and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that the third season will be just as good as this one and a blend of the first, because I do miss that edginess and dramatic feeling to it and stuff. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.